witness the blood moon's rise.
The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, the much-awaited sequel to Breath of the Wild, is here at last. And we can't wait to dive back into the vast open world of Hyrule and join Link and friends on another unforgettable adventure. As we soar through the clouds and delve into the deepest depths of the kingdom, let's take some time to consider the cast of colorful individuals that populate Hyrule. I'm Kristijan with One Up Binge, and today we're going to be ranking the characters of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom from the most good to the most evil. We'll be taking into account Age of Calamity as well to really explore each of these characters from every possible angle. Beware of massive spoilers as we go forward, especially for Tears of the Kingdom. Don't say we didn't warn you, because we just did. Now, as always, we're going to be starting off with our purest and most heroic characters before working our way down. These characters are the good. This may be a controversial choice, but we believe that the gold medal of good belongs to the series' namesake, Princess Zelda. Breath of the Wild's Zelda has more of an edge to her than is typical for the character, courtesy of an inferiority complex born of her struggle to call on the divine power of the goddess Hylia. She resents Link for his capability because of this, which makes for some rough going in their relationship early on. It takes the calamity destroying the kingdom and nearly killing Link to unlock Zelda's powers, allowing her to seal Ganon away for a century to give Link time to recover from his injuries and save the kingdom. The next two games further develop Zelda as a protagonist fighting at Link's side, whether directly in Age of Calamity or in the distant past in Tears of the Kingdom. Bolstered by the support of her friends and loved ones, Zelda matures into a capable hero prepared to do anything to ensure that Link has the tools he needs to banish the darkness threatening Hyrule. Possibly her greatest act of heroism comes when she chooses to turn herself into an immortal dragon to get the Master Sword back into Link's hands. This painful choice further comes into play in the finale of Tears of the Kingdom when Ganondorf undergoes the same transformation. There's no doubt that Zelda will use all the power at her disposal to protect Hyrule and its people, no matter the personal cost. Every legend needs a hero, and it should come as no surprise that Zelda's hero, Link, takes the silver medal of good. This particular incarnation of Nintendo's iconic character is defined more than anything else by his sheer determination. Absolutely nothing will stop him from fulfilling his heroic destiny. Injure him so badly he loses his memories and needs 100 years to get back in the game, mutilate his arm, and destroy his legendary sword. This guy can bounce back from anything. And unlike most of the other Links in this franchise, this one doesn't even have the divine power of the Triforce of Courage backing him up. While he does get a lot of help from the many allies he encounters during his journeys, Link's actions are the linchpin to Hyrule's salvation in all three games in this continuity. The only reason we couldn't give him the top spot is that he's a silent protagonist, which limits our understanding of his personality and motivations. Plus, the player can have Link set half the countryside on fire, go around half naked in public, or harass innocent NPCs and animals, so there's that. Rauru, the Sage of Light, has long since passed away at the time of Tears of the Kingdom. However, he remains one of the strongest forces of good in the story, and handily claims a bronze medal of good. He and his wife Sonia take in an accidentally time-traveling Zelda, and together they and the other sages oppose Ganondorf's assault on Hyrule in the distant past. Rauru loses Sonia to the Demon King's trickery, but he holds firm against the darkness, sacrificing himself to drain Ganondorf's power and seal him away. In the present, he saves Link from death at the start of the game and guides the young hero on the first steps of his next journey. After the climactic battle against the Demon Dragon, Rauru and Sonia channel their powers through Link to restore Zelda to her original form. See, now that's a lot more than can be said for his namesake from Ocarina of Time. That Rauru could only be bothered to give Link a quick exposition dump and a new plot trinket before sending him on his way. Rauru's sister Minoru is up next. This ancient sage of spirit feels responsible for allowing Ganondorf access to the secret stones of the Zonai, and she makes up for her failure by transferring her spirit into the Puripad so that she can aid Link in the present. After Link builds a reconstruct body to inhabit, Minoru eagerly joins the fight at his side. She can equip a variety of weapons and Zonai devices to pummel enemies and navigate obstacles, and even duke it out in the ring with the possessed construct and a power-mad Master Koga. Once Ganon is defeated, Minoru's spirit can finally rest, passing along Zelda's regards to the departed Rauru and Sonia for all their help. The little Guardian Taroko might look like a toy, but its heroism is central to the story of Age of Calamity. Taroko travels back in time to prevent the calamity, creating an alternate timeline where the heroes are able to put a stop to Ganon's rise before it can truly begin. It uses its time-traveling capabilities and Sheikah technology to protect Zelda and her allies, and reassures the princess with a familiar lullaby when she's feeling down. Not even Ganon's corruption is enough to stop Taroko from proving a key in the final battle, and once it's been repaired, it even becomes a playable character. Some might look at Taroko and see a charming little robot buddy, others might look at it and see a shameless ripoff of R2-D2, but we have to ask, can't it be both? Impa has loyally served Hyrule for many years at the time of Breath of the Wild, and she continues to do so by guiding Link on the path to restoring his lost memories. She fulfills a similar role in Tears of the Kingdom, now having passed the role of Kakariko village leader onto her granddaughter. This gives her the freedom to travel the kingdom and inspect the mysterious geoglyphs that tell the story of Zelda's adventures in the past. Impa's most active role comes in Age of Calamity, where her younger self travels alongside Link and Zelda to counter the impending threat of Calamity Ganon. Much more energetic, but no less helpful, is Impa's sister, Pyrrha. While Impa is more of a Sheikah traditionalist, Pyrrha embraces their people's advanced technology with a zeal that produces incredible results, and sometimes backfires horribly. Like when she accidentally de-ages herself into a child in Breath of the Wild, she and her fellow Sheikah researchers can always be counted on to hook Link up with the latest tech and provide him with information on important goals. To that end, Pyrrha assembles Lookout Landing in Tears of the Kingdom to research the floating Hyrule Castle and the recently unearthed depths beneath the kingdom. Like Impa, Pyrrha also wades into combat in Age of Calamity's DLC, conducting some hands-on testing with all of her crazy experimental gadgets alongside her colleague Robbie. Now we come to the first of the 4 champions chosen to take command of the Divine Beasts. Urbosa is a capable leader of the Gerudo and wielder of the deadly power of lightning even outside of Vah Naboris, but she's also a key source of emotional support for both Zelda and the future Gerudo leader Riju. What really gives Urbosa the edge above the other champions in terms of goodness, though, is her sense of responsibility. She's all too aware that Ganon was originally a Gerudo, and so she feels honor-bound to oppose him to restore her people's good name. Mipha, Zora Princess and pilot of Vah Ruta, is our next champion. Her healing abilities are what allow her to stand out among the Zora, but what's most memorable about her as a character is her affection for her little brother Sidon, and her mostly unspoken crush on Link. Mipha is a gentle presence among the other champions, and Sidon idolizes her and grows up to follow her example. It's incredibly satisfying to see the brother and sister team up in Age of Calamity to reclaim Vah Ruta. There's not much to say about the champion Daruk. He's just your typical, boisterous, upstanding Goron. Daruk's strength and protective abilities earned him the privilege of piloting the divine beast Vah Radania in the fight against the Calamity, and even when he can't enter the fray himself, he's always ready to lend Link a helping hand or offer some words of encouragement to his successor Yunobo. Link's fishy BFF Sidon is next on our list. In Breath of the Wild, the Zora Prince is pivotal in aiding the hero in the assault on the divine beast Vah Ruta, while in Age of Calamity, he travels back in time to rescue Mipha from Waterblight Ganon. He really comes into his own in Tears of the Kingdom, however, when he joins the investigation into the sludge that's polluting Zora's domain. Sidon travels with Link to the Water Temple and awakens as its sage, cleaning up Hyrule's waterways just in time for his father to pass the crown to him. Sidon is a capable warrior and a devoted leader, but he's best known for his infectious optimism and endless faith in Link, traits he picked up from his beloved sister. Pressed into the role of leader of the Gerudo at a young age, Riju is another princess with doubts about her own abilities. These don't stop her from defending her people against dangerous threats, though. First against the raging Vah Naboris in Breath of the Wild, and then against the Gibdo-infested Sand Shroud in Tears of the Kingdom. With the power of the legendary Thunderhelm and her loyal Sand Seal Patricia, Riju charges into battle no matter what dangers she may encounter. She faces her greatest test inside the Lightning Temple, where she and Link take out the Gibdo Queen and awaken Riju's powers as the Sage of Lightning. It's no wonder that Urbosa takes so much pride in her descendant. In Breath of the Wild, the fledgling Rito Tulin trails after his father and Link, but his role grows considerably in the later games. In Age of Calamity, Tulin follows Tiba into the past and finds himself in harm's way, but he bravely faces down monsters and even manages to befriend the uptight Revali. By Tears of the Kingdom, Tulin has honed his archery skills and his unique wind generation abilities, and he soars into the clouds to investigate the source of the blizzard that's been burying Rito Village in snow. He takes his father's advice about teamwork to heart, and with Link's help, he destroys the monster lurking inside the Wind Temple. From danger-prone fledgling to newly awakened sage, this young Rito has come a long way. Tulin's father, Tiba, takes wing alongside Link to face down the threat of Vah Medoh high above Rito Village. Like his predecessor, Revali, he's initially skeptical of the young hero, but Tiba warms up to him after Link displays his skill with archery. Tiba also stands out a bit in comparison with the other so-called new champions, in that he intends to accompany Link inside the Divine Beast, but is injured during the battle. Tiba steps back into a supportive role in Tears of the Kingdom, focusing on leading Rito Village and teaching his headstrong son not to rush into danger. This results in him being the least prominent of the new generation of heroes, but no less good. Unlike Tiba, Yunobo isn't too excited about going face-to-face with the Divine Beast. This cowardly Goron is terrified of monsters, but that doesn't stop him from joining Link in ascending Death Mountain to take on Vah Radania. After Breath of the Wild, Yunobo dedicates himself to fully helping out the Gorons, although this backfires when he's misled by Phantom Ganon and possessed by an evil mask. After Link snaps him out of the malicious mind control, Yunobo again joins the hero on Death Mountain, this time plunging deep into its interior to explore the mysterious Fire Temple. Yunobo's fiery demolition abilities prove essential to clearing out the temple, and at the end, he awakens as the new Sage of Fire and passes his powers on to Link. The wandering minstrel Cass is up next. Wherever Link hears the sound of the Rito's accordion, he can always rely on Cass to share some information regarding a nearby shrine puzzle or other mystery. Cass is also instrumental, no pun intended, in the unraveling story at the heart of the Champion's Ballad DLC. Cass privately admits that he's become homesick during his travels and that he misses his family in Rito Village, but he remains dedicated to his mentor's final wish, sharing the ancient songs with Link to aid him on his quest. Fans have been disappointed to find that Cass appears to be missing in Tears of the Kingdom, and hope that the helpful bard will show up in future content. We now come to the Sheikah monk Maz Koshia. Maz serves as Link's guide through Breath of the Wild's Champion's Ballad DLC. More than any of the other shrine monks, he really puts the young hero through his paces with the deadly power of the one-hit obliterator and the mechanized challenges of the final trial. After all of these hurdles are cleared, Maz Koshia battles Link for the right to pilot the Master Cycle Zero. He may be thousands of years old, but the fight against Maz is by far the toughest one in Breath of the Wild. And unlike the other monks, Maz doesn't pass on after encountering Link. He remains behind for the hero to test his skills whenever he likes, and even steps onto the battlefield himself in Age of Calamity. The Great Deku Tree stands tall in the center of Hyrule's Great Forest, guarding over the Koroks and the Master Sword. He's an ancient and powerful ally, although he's not afraid to be harsh with Link if the hero hasn't gathered enough life force to pull the Master Sword from its pedestal. In Tears of the Kingdom, the Deku Tree resumes his duty watching over the Blade of Evil's bane and passing along knowledge of its untapped potential, but he's recently fallen to the corruption of Phantom Ganon taking up residence in a chasm deep beneath his roots. If past Zelda games have taught us anything, it's that it's pretty easy to corrupt the tree spirit. The Master Carpenter Bolson may be incredibly eccentric, but he's one of the most important figures in Hyrule's reconstruction in the wake of the Calamity. Link can purchase a house in Hateno Village and furnish it with Bolson's help, and it's also his construction company that establishes the village of Terrytown in Akkala, all in accordance with Bolson's strict naming convention, of course. In Tears of the Kingdom, Bolson is even more active in restoring Hyrule, coming to the aid of Lurelin Village after it's been devastated by pirates. With Link's help, Bolson can ensure that the village comes back better than ever. Impa's granddaughter, Paya, isn't the most significant character, but she quickly became a fan favorite. She harbors a not-so-secret crush on Link and is often shy and flustered around him, but she's always friendly and eager to share useful information whenever he stops by for a visit. Link also helps her out of a jam when a valuable Sheikah heirloom is stolen, leading him to discover the nearby shrine that Paya had been researching. In Tears of the Kingdom, Paya has taken on the mantle of Kakariko Village Chief, and she remains dedicated to helping Link by sharing her knowledge of the nearby ruins. Next up, we have the characters who tend to fall somewhere between good and evil. Welcome to the gray area. Revali is every bit as heroic as the other Divine Beast pilots, but his arrogance rubs many the wrong way. He's especially critical of Link out of envy for the hero's lofty position among the champions, as well as insecurity over his own failures. It's not until Link defeats Windblight Ganon and restores control of Vamado that Revali begrudgingly acknowledges his worth, although he remains by far the most abrasive of the champions. This carries over into Age of Calamity, where Revali attacks Link before Zelda intervenes. He does eventually join the heroes in their fight against the Calamity, and he develops a soft spot for Tulin, but Revali is nevertheless a tough bird to like. Hestu is a happy-go-lucky Korok who loves nothing more than dancing to the beat of his maracas, although players may not be so fond of the big guy. In both open-world games, he sends Link on a quest to gather hundreds upon hundreds of Korok seeds scattered throughout Hyrule in exchange for more inventory slots. Should Link accomplish the exhausting task of finding every Korok seed, Hestu's reward for him will be a golden piece of poop. We hope you completionists out there have a good sense of humor. Kilton is undeniably creepy, and his fixation on monsters even creepier, but this shady merchant isn't so bad once you get to know him. His biggest crime may in fact be inventing his own currency just so we can get Link to shower him in monster parts in exchange for the mon needed to buy items at his shop. Kilton returns in Tears of the Kingdom, this time alongside his equally eccentric brother Colton. Weird creature obsessions must just run in the family. Surprisingly though, Kilton's not even the dodgiest merchant in Hyrule. Longtime series veteran Beedle returns in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, hanging out at the kingdom's stables and keeping Link stocked up with essential items. Like Kilton, Beedle also has a particular fascination. In his case, with the insects whose name he shares. Link can sell any beetles in his inventory to the merchant, but if he holds out, Beedle will plot to steal the bug from Link instead. Yikes. The spirit dragons that soar through the skies of Hyrule aren't openly hostile toward Link, and in fact the materials he can acquire from them allow for some powerful equipment upgrades. That said, contact with them or the elemental magic magic their bodies give off can harm Link, which can make it difficult for him to obtain those valuable resources. We can't really blame them though. If every time you showed up some guy kept shooting at you, you wouldn't be too crazy about helping him either. Next, we have to talk about the 4 Great Fairies. They can improve Link's armor if he brings them enough money and materials, but their methods can be pretty questionable. In Breath of the Wild, they shake Link down for rupees before they even grant him an audience, and in both games their magical enhancements are extremely hands-on to Link's constant distress. You'd think that spirits who spend half their time hiding inside giant flower buds would have a better understanding of personal space, but here we are. King Roam of Hyrule is a surprisingly complex figure. In his lifetime, Roam was a stern and demanding father, repeatedly pressuring Zelda to unlock the sacred power inside her in anticipation of the Calamity. He forbade her from pursuing her scholarly research into ancient Sheikah technology, and in Age of Calamity, even separated her from her childhood companion Teriko. All this pressure contributed to Zelda's crushing self-doubt. All that helicopter parenting turned out to be in vain. Roam was killed in Calamity Ganon's initial attack, and Zelda awakened her powers too late to save the kingdom from falling. However, Roam's spirit lives on in the Great Plateau, where he encounters Link after the hero reawakens in the Shrine of Resurrection. From there, he helps Link get his bearings and shares the tale of the fall of Hyrule. Roam guides Link toward rescuing Zelda from Calamity Ganon, expressing regret for his past failures and seeking to atone for them. It's only at the end of Breath of the Wild, where Link and Zelda together defeat the Calamity, that Roam's spirit is able to pass on. We finally arrived at the most wicked baddies around. These characters are the bad to evil. Taking the bronze medal of evil is Master Koga. You'd think that the leader of a clan of ninja would be a grim and serious figure, but Koga is anything but. His battle tactics are as goofy as his villainous presence, providing some much-needed comedic contrast to the dark terrors of Ganon's other minions. Make no mistake though, Koga is determined to do whatever it takes to get into the Demon King's good graces, and he's still doing so in Tears of the Kingdom, even after Link sends him plummeting into the depths beneath Hyrule. What saves him from a lower ranking is his appearance in Age of Calamity, where he joins up with the good guys once Astor starts sacrificing his fellow Yiga clan members. Even villains have standards. Well, usually. Speaking of which, Astor claims the Silver Medal of Evil. The sole survivor of a cult that worshipped the Calamity, Astor believes that he's been chosen by Ganon to ensure that the destruction of Hyrule goes according to plan. He does everything he can to thwart the heroes and their allies from the future, including using the Yiga clan as pawns and sending his shadowy minions to attack Link and Zelda at multiple points. It's all for naught, however, since Astor vastly overestimates his control over Calamity Ganon. Astor succeeds in summoning the monster's full power, but he's consumed by Ganon's malice and used to create a new humanoid body for the real villain of this story. That leads us right into our pick for the Gold Medal of Evil, not that there was ever any competition. Ganondorf goes by many names in these games. The Calamity, the Demon King, the Demon Dragon, but one thing that stays constant is his drive to conquer. Ganon's undying hatred of Hyrule is so powerful that he'll stop at nothing to see the kingdom brought to ruin. He'll possess a guardian to keep his spirit alive, pretend to be Zelda and spread chaos and confusion through the land, swallow a secret stone to transform into an immortal dragon, or even become a mindless avatar of pure malice. Nothing can keep this villain down. Some fans were disappointed by Ganon's minimal presence in Breath of the Wild, and Nintendo absolutely made the right call by turning him into the centerpiece of the sequel. Right at the start of Tears of the Kingdom, Ganondorf shatters the Master Sword and mutilates Link's arm before separating him from Zelda. His villainy only compounds as the game goes on, culminating in yet another epic final confrontation against the King of Evil. Ganondorf certainly earns that title.